Anyone else get really frustrated with Jonathan Gannon's play calling last night? I don't think it was just me. Like, what are you doing on some of those drives? Although 8-0, could they be undefeated by the end of the year? Thomas Mott, this is the Thomas Mott Show. What's up, guys? Thomas Mott here. Welcome into the Thomas Mott Show on a Friday, fresh off of another Eagles win. This seems to be a wash, rinse, and repeat situation as Philadelphia is 8-0. But we do need to be a little critical this morning because Jonathan Gannon is very polarizing right now. And I think a lot of people on social media who watch and cover Philadelphia or just enjoy watching the Philadelphia Eagles, because last night the defense got exposed a little bit. Now, how exposed did it get? We're going to dive into that here and also look at A.J. Brown, who mentioned that the team might be looking a little bit at an undefeated season, or at least trying to focus in on 1 week at a time. Some good stuff here this morning on the Thomas Mott Show. First, though, we go into the good, bad, and the ugly via Bleeding Green Nation on this game last night. I just want to say I'm not complaining. I don't want to complain today. 8-0, first time ever in franchise history. Congrats to everybody balling out right now for the Philadelphia Eagles. But there are some things we need to mention, most notably the run defense, because the run defense last night was a serious issue, and I do have my concerns. And I think Jonathan Gannon is going to be the make-or-break-it guy on a Super Bowl chance for Philadelphia. I think his defense is going to determine if the Eagles are going to win it all this year or if they're going to fall flat against a good running team come January or maybe February. Good. Now, it's very simple. The good here, C.J. Gardner-Johnson might be one of the best pickups Philadelphia's had defensively in a very, very long time. Another interception, league-leading 5th in the National Football League. He was really, really good. Miles Sanders running the football. That was fantastic by the Philadelphia Eagles. The offensive line did a really good job run blocking. Not so great pass blocking, as we will see. And how about Quez Watkins and Dallas Goedert, two of the forgotten receivers, as mentioned here by Bleeding Green Nation, actually getting involved here. Quez has been very underutilized so far this season, and sometimes Dallas Goedert is underutilized, and he's maybe the best pass-catching tight end in the league. I know Kelsey and Kittle exist, but this guy constantly gets open. It's fun to see him be able to have a really big game, and that is something that needs to continue for Philadelphia going forward. The bad was very obvious. A couple of miscues by Jason Kelsey. One turned out to be a fumble. The other, Hurts did actually catch. I don't know why we're snapping the ball so darn early there. It was a little bit strange. And I thought that, honestly, when you actually look at this football game, it just felt a little flat in terms of coming out. And, Thursday night against a bad football team, the flatness scared me a little bit early on, but Philadelphia did correct it. The ugly here is what I want to focus on. The Eagles' defense. Philadelphia, they made, as you see here, Davis Mills looked like Joe Montana on some of those drives. And that running back, Dameon Pierce, was balling out for the Houston Texans. And it has me not a little bit worried overall about the current state of the Eagles defense, but you have to understand that Jonathan Gannon is going to be the make-or-break-it guy this year. Dameon Pierce was had 27 carries for $139 on the ground. As a team, that 168 yards rushing. Now, Davis Mills wasn't special after those first couple of drives, finished with a quarterback rating of 46.9. But my one problem that continues with Jonathan Gannon is you get into these situations where very clearly he needs to change up his defensive play calling, and he refuses to do so. Gannon loves this shell coverage, this soft defense where he can rush for and let his corners play off coverage and break on footballs and possibly get interceptions. Now, it's worked very, very well. Philadelphia has one of the best overall defenses in terms of takeaways. The best overall defense in terms of takeaways, and I'm fine with that. Takeaways are a huge part of winning football games, but I do think you can be a little bit more flexible from a defensive play calling standpoint where you go, okay, we're getting gashed by Dameon Pierce early. We need to get a stop. I trust Bradbury. I trust Slay in press man coverage. Why don't we get a stop instead of hoping for an interception? Why don't we load the box a little bit more instead of hoping for an interception? I'm not saying I'm smarter than Jonathan Gannon or I know more about defensive coverages. The guy clearly understands what he's doing from a defensive coordinator perspective. I just wish there was a little bit more flexibility because when you play these good rushing teams, the Packers are a good rushing team coming up. You get into, obviously, Tennessee after that is a great rushing team. You get into the postseason. You play Dallas, who's going to be a good rushing team. You've got to be able to be a little more flexible and give some faith and trust in your cornerbacks, especially in a football game like you saw last night, where it seemed like if you just forced Davis Mills to throw enough, he was going to go ahead and throw you one, and that is eventually what happened. I don't want to sit back and say that the Eagles' defense is this trash defense that is absolutely terrible, that is not going to go ahead and, help them win football games going forward, because the stats tell you differently. They're number 4 overall in total yards. Like, they've done a very, very good job in terms of actually getting stops. They're number 4 in points per game. Like, this is a solid defense. I just think the talent is so good that if you need to play football teams where all you gotta do is stop the run, you can do that, have a little bit more flexibility, and you don't have to kind of sweat out a game like you did against the Houston Texans last night. So overall, it was a solid game. Jalen Hurts continues to progress. It's a Thursday nighter against a bad opponent. Everyone's telling you you're going to win. So I understand the fact they were a little bit flat. I expected them to be a little bit flat. But the idea that there are people out here coming on, national media shows today and, poo-pooing the 8-0 Eagles, it's ridiculous because there's one thing they have to keep remembering. 8-0, undefeated. No team has beaten them. Teams have beaten the Vikings. We did. Teams have beaten the Cowboys. Teams have beaten the Bills and beaten the Chiefs and beaten all these other great football teams. Philadelphia's undefeated, and that is really, really good news. Thumbs up for that. I like what I saw yesterday. I just think Jonathan Gannon needs to be a little bit more buttoned up sometimes, and I think it's a young play caller sort of thing. They get stuck in these, my way or the highway. A little bit more flexibility, and I think you have a little bit more success, which is what we're going for now because we're looking at perfection, not in terms of a record, but perfection in terms of a Super Bowl, and little tweaks can go a long way in doing that. All right, got a bunch of you guys who mentioned winning last night with DraftKings using my link down below in terms of the bet $5, win $200 in free bets on top of your additional winnings. A bunch of you guys were messaging me that you hit on this one, and it's still going on. Now, the link that you see here, which is also down below in your description box from TFM, it's mentioned it's for the Eagles. This is a DraftKings-wide thing right now, so if you've not signed up for DraftKings, all you got to do is use my link, sign up, register, deposit the $5+ if you're in a legal betting state, and then place a $5+ money line bet on any team this Sunday, and you should go ahead and win the $200 if that team wins. So all of the description, all the info is on the website right now at TFM, link down below. Bunch of you guys are getting in on the betting game. Bunch of you guys are winning money with this, and so jump in using my DraftKings link right now. Okay, so the question now is going to be shifted to undefeated, right? That's the real question. Can the Eagles go undefeated? Get up this morning at the gym. They were showing you each game Philadelphia has remaining and their percentage chance of winning. They're favored in every single game. They're not going to go undefeated. Philadelphia is not going to go undefeated. If they do, I will post this exact clip to my Twitter account when they do go undefeated and say I'm an idiot. They're going to lose. The question is when. Now, the question also is the team too focused on an undefeated season, or are they actually focused in on just, being better every single week? A.J. Brown had a great quote here. You see it from ClutchPoints.com about talking about possibly going undefeated and 17-0, and it seems like A.J. Brown doesn't give a blank about it right now. He just cares about winning each week. Quote, I think winning, going 1-0 every week. We're not stuck on a number. We're just trying to win, every week. This blank is hard. Prime example, the first half. They took the ball out of our hand, running the ball. We've got to find a way to adjust. We're not caught up in trying to go perfect. That's not even a conversation right now. We're just trying to win, find a way to win. And I think that is absolutely fantastic, and that's exactly what you need to keep preaching right now if you are the leaders and captains of this football team, 1-0 every single week. Because here's the honest truth. They're probably going to lose. Now, when you look at the schedule, who knows when? I think they're going to beat the Commanders. I think they're going to beat the Colts. I think you have a little 3-game stretch here where they could go 2-3, or 2 out of 3, win 2 out of their 3. Packers, Titans, Giants, right? One of those football teams is probably going to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, they could win them all. They'll be favorited. It should be close, but they're probably going to lose. But if you get too worried about making sure you never lose, eventually they're going to have a big-time letdown game or maybe a couple of letdown games, and then they don't have the momentum running into the playoffs that we want Philadelphia to go ahead and have. So it's going to happen. It's fine to discuss it, and all of us would be very thrilled with 17-0. I'm not going to complain, but I think the focus needs to be on getting better every single week, and even though they've been really good in all these games, you saw Jalen Hurts mention it last night, A.J. Brown just there, they still have some tweaks and some things to go ahead and get better, and now, with a little mini bye week here before Monday night or next week, more time to get healthier, more time to work on things that need to get improved, and more time to be a better football team. Make sure you guys subscribe to the show. We're approaching 6,000 subs here on the Thomas Mott Show, which is crazy. A lot of you guys are not subscribed. If you want to go ahead and join the group, just hit the little red button. I would appreciate that. Okay, National League story of the day to end. This does impact Philadelphia. We always try to tie it in, NFL and Philadelphia here on the show. Michael Thomas is undergoing toe surgery, not expected to play the remainder of this season, as this has been a report from Dennis Allen. He's been placed on IR, and this means the Saints will be without their top target for the remainder remainder of the year. Now, why is that a big-time matter for Philadelphia? Well, as we mentioned, that's the number 1 pick that Philadelphia is going to have this year. They have their own, but that's hopefully going to be 31st because there's only 31 picks this year because of the Dolphins. So this pick is going to be a big determiner in what Philadelphia can do in terms of adding more talent, like a pass rusher or trading back in the draft. Right now, the Saints are 3-5. They have the 8th overall pick, which will be given to us. With Michael Thomas out, this could start to kind of, continue to get higher and higher and higher, maybe back into the top 5. And so you never wish for someone to go ahead and get injured. You never hope for someone to go ahead and get hurt. But in this case, it does help Philadelphia because you would assume they could lose more games without Michael Thomas than they would with Michael Thomas. And that draft pick can continue to get higher and higher and higher and maybe slide back into the top 5, which means, as we will look at tomorrow on the show, the rest of the weekend games, that you want to be rooting, for the teams that are ahead of them. You want Detroit to win. You want the Carolina Panthers to win. You want Pittsburgh to win. You want Jacksonville and Tampa and Vegas to go ahead and win. Maybe not Tampa, but you want these bad football teams ahead to win. That way the Saints lose on Monday night against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens and start to kind of slide back up there in order to give Philadelphia an even higher pick. So there's the Michael Thomas injury news. He is most likely done for the remainder of the year, and that means Philadelphia potentially could continue to have a top 10 draft pick, which would be massive this year because we expect them to be a playoff team for sure, and possibly a Super Bowl caliber team as well. And a Super Bowl team with 2 first-round draft picks, one in the first 10 picks and one in the last 10 picks, could be absolutely massive for not only this year, but the future of the Philadelphia Eagles. All right, 8-0. Again, smash that like button because we're so excited that the Eagles are 8-0. Plenty more content coming up here on the Thomas Mott Show. Saturday, because it was a Thursday game, we're going to get into my Thomas Mott React Show, where I go ahead and show you guys some of the best hot takes from around the sports world regarding the Philadelphia Eagles and other NFL teams, reacting to those. Always fun seeing what Cowherd or Greenberg or, Robert Griffin III had to say about the Philadelphia Eagles. It's always fun, so make sure you guys thumbs up and subscribe and stay tuned for that one as well. And just enjoy a Sunday where you don't have to stress about the Eagles winning or losing, right? Philadelphia's job is done this week. Rest up, get ready for next week and a Monday nighter against a divisional opponent who will try very hard to beat you at Lincoln Financial Field in the Washington football team. For the 8-0 Philadelphia Eagles, or I should say, happy about the 8-0 Philadelphia Eagles, I'm Thomas Mott. This has been the Thomas Mott Show. See ya.